There are moments in life when people rise up against you, not because you've done something wrong, but because your very presence convicts them. Your integrity makes their deception uncomfortable. Your progress highlights their stagnation. Your light irritates the darkness they have grown used to, and so they lie. They fabricate stories, they twist truths, they spread rumors, hoping to dismantle what God is building in you. But what they fail to understand is that lies are temporary shadows, while truth is eternal light. You see, truth may take its time, but when it shows up, it shows out. And when it shows out, it exposes every wicked scheme in plain sight. The enemy always thinks he is smarter than God. He believes he can trick, deceive, and outmaneuver divine destiny. But let me tell you something powerful. You cannot curse what God has blessed. You cannot destroy what God has covered. And you cannot silence the voice that heaven has endorsed. So when they lied on you, when they tried to turn people against you, when they plotted your downfall with whispers and manipulation, they didn't realize they were sowing their own shame. Because every lie they told has now become a mirror showing their own character. The most powerful thing you can do when people lie on you is not fight back with your own words, but let your life speak. Let your integrity outlive their accusations. Let your fruitfulness outshine their fiction. Let your consistency destroy their conspiracy. The Bible says, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn." Did you hear that? It didn't say the weapons wouldn't form. It said they would not prosper. So don't be surprised when the attack comes. Don't be shocked when the lie spreads. Don't be discouraged when people walk away from you because of something that was never true. God saw it all, and God is still the vindicator of the righteous. You don't have to broadcast your innocence when God has already prepared a public demonstration of your vindication. While they were busy talking, God was busy preparing. While they were scheming in the shadows, God was setting the stage for your rise. Now the very lie they used to discredit you has become the evidence of their own foolishness. The trap they set for you has caught them instead. The character they tried to assassinate has only grown stronger. They tried to bury you with gossip, but they didn't realize you were a seed, and now you've sprouted stronger, bigger, unshaken, and undeniable. When God elevates you, he does it in such a way that everyone who doubted you will have to witness it. You don't need revenge. You don't need to defend your name. You don't need to lower your standards to match their level. Just walk in your assignment. Keep building, keep serving, keep growing. God has a way of making your enemies your footstool. He has a way of turning the lie into a lesson for others. He has a way of showing the world who was telling the truth all along. There's something about divine timing. God will allow the lie to linger just long enough to reveal hearts. He lets the rumor circulate so that you know who's truly for you. He lets the betrayal sting so that your circle is purified. But when he's done with the refining, he flips the script so violently that those who tried to shame you can no longer look you in the eye. That's the justice of heaven. That's the wisdom of the kingdom. That's the authority of a child of God. Let me remind you, don't get bitter, get better. Don't retaliate, rebuild. Don't respond with rage, respond with results. Because the people who lied on you are now being confronted by the truth. And it's not just exposing them, it's embarrassing them. They thought they could damage your credibility. Instead, they damaged their own. They thought they could control the narrative. Instead, God flipped the script. They thought they could delay your destiny. But now your destiny is accelerating because of their deception. Isn't it amazing how God can use even your enemies to promote your purpose? Isn't it incredible how what was meant to break you becomes the bridge to your next level? Their lies didn't destroy you. They revealed you. They didn't bury you. They branded you. They didn't ruin your name. They raised its value, and now they don't know how to face you. The guilt is heavy. The shame is loud. The truth is undeniable. And the favor on your life is unexplainable. So stand tall, walk in grace, and keep your head high, because God is not done making an example out of this situation. He is still writing your story, and every chapter is proof that the lies just backfired horribly. They look foolish now, not because you said anything, but because the truth walked into the room and spoke louder than every whisper behind your back. God has vindicated you. Heaven has approved you. And now the same people who said you wouldn't make it have to watch you thrive in everything they said you'd fail in. They lied, but the lie didn't last. The lie crumbled under the weight of God's favor. And now the world is watching the truth rise with power, with honor, and with undeniable glory. Falsehood may travel fast, but it never outruns the truth. When people lie on you, it may seem like their version of the story is winning. But God's truth doesn't panic. It prevails in divine timing. Lies are designed to manipulate perception, but truth is rooted in eternal purpose. What they said about you was only a detour in public opinion, but God's truth about you is your ultimate destination. And when that truth emerges, it not only restores your honor, it dismantles their deception and exposes their motives. The greatest weapon you have against a lie is your life. Your integrity, consistency, and fruit will always speak louder than gossip. When others scheme to destroy your name, God will use your unwavering character to silence their accusations. They tried to attack your image, but God preserved your influence. When your life remains rooted in righteousness, even your enemies will have to acknowledge your credibility. Their lies backfire when your integrity reveals their insecurity. What they meant for evil, God will use for your good. The lie was designed to destroy you, but God used it to deliver you. Their betrayal opened doors you never would have knocked on. Their attack drew attention to your name, but God used it to announce your anointing. The scandal they created became the stage for your promotion. You didn't rise because they approved, you rose because God appointed. And when God lifts you up in the presence of those who lied, they are forced to watch their own downfall through the lens of your destiny. Vindication is God's responsibility, not yours. You don't have to prove yourself when God has already vindicated you. He doesn't just clear your name. He magnifies your purpose. Let God do the talking through your results. The more they lied, the more God elevated you. The more they mocked, the more you multiplied. Now, the ones who slandered you look foolish, not because you fought back, but because your success contradicted their story. Your silence was your strategy, and now your testimony is their defeat. When someone lies on you, it doesn't just hurt your reputation, it wounds your spirit. It causes you to question who you are, how people see you, and whether the truth even matters in a world so quick to believe the worst. But hear this, lies may be loud, they may be persuasive, and they may spread like wildfire, but they are not everlasting. They are not rooted in eternity. The truth, however, doesn't rush. It doesn't need a crowd to validate it. It doesn't panic under pressure. The truth is stable, unchanging, divine. It is backed by heaven and sealed with the authority of God Himself. When people speak falsehoods about you, they're not just lying on your name. They're lying on the purpose God put in you. And that's a dangerous game to play because God guards what He plants. He watches over what He anoints. And when someone fabricates a lie against someone God has called, they are not just fighting flesh and blood, they are contending with the will of heaven. You may feel wounded now. You may feel betrayed, misunderstood, and abandoned. But don't you dare let a temporary distortion define your eternal identity. Or lies have a short lifespan because they're birthed in fear, sustained by pride, and exposed by truth. Eventually, all lies exhaust their own power. Why? Because a lie has to be maintained, repeated, covered, and constantly rearranged. It requires energy to uphold. It needs people to carry it. It relies on deception to survive. But the truth stands alone. It doesn't need manipulation to exist. It doesn't require applause to be validated. Truth can sit in silence and still be sovereign. And sooner or later, it will stand up and speak louder than every false narrative ever spoken about you. Let me tell you something spiritual. The enemy is the father of lies. So when lies come against you, it's not just people talking. It's a spiritual assignment designed to interrupt your focus and sabotage your destiny. But the Bible says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. That means even when you're surrounded by lies, your freedom is tied to the truth. And the truth is, God has called you. God has anointed you. God has justified you. And no lie formed against you will outlast His truth about your life. It's hard, I know, when people believe the lie, when they walk away without asking for your side, when your name is dragged through conversations you weren't invited to. That pain is real, but don't give that lie your energy. Don't give that rumor your identity. You are not what they say about you. You are who God says you are. And what God speaks over you is not a suggestion. It is law. It is covenant. It is unshakable. The lie may echo for a while, but God's truth has the final word. Sometimes God allows the lie to go public so he can make your vindication just as visible. Sometimes he lets you be humiliated before you're elevated, not because he wants to break you, but because he wants to purify the circle around you. He wants to burn off the fake, the flaky, the fraudulent, because where he's taking you, truth must be your foundation. And when the truth finally stands up, and it will reveal the difference between those who loved you and those who loved the lie. You don't have to clap back. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to chase rumors. God will do more with your silence than you could ever do with your defense. Let them talk. Let them plot. Let them build their case. And then watch God dismantle every false word in front of the same audience that believed it. That's how God works. He doesn't just vindicate privately. Sometimes he waits until the lie is so loud, so bold, so widespread, just so he can make the exposure unforgettable. When the lie backfires, it doesn't just fall apart. It brings shame upon those who started it. And let's not forget, some of the very people who helped spread the lie will one day need your help. They'll realize the story wasn't true. They'll look foolish for entertaining it, and they'll have to humble themselves because the one they thought was finished is now flourishing in undeniable favor. You don't rise to defend yourself. You rise to fulfill purpose. And when your life keeps rising, keeps blooming, keeps producing fruit, what can they say? The lie dies on its own when the truth is alive in you. So walk tall, smile, even through the pain, speak peace over yourself. God is not in a hurry because he knows how this ends. You're not just surviving the lie, you're outliving it. You're not just overcoming the deception, you're becoming stronger because of it. And when the dust settles, when the noise dies down, when the crowd stop talking, they'll see clearly. They'll remember what was said, but they'll also see what became of you. And when the truth and your transformation stand side by side, the lie will look foolish on its own. You were never alone. God was watching the entire time. He saw the motive. He heard the whispers. And he also saw your restraint, your dignity, your tears in private. That's why he's going to elevate you publicly, not to gloat, but to glorify him. The lie tried to rob God's glory by distracting you from your destiny. But because you stood firm, God is going to make the truth shine so brightly that even your enemies will say, surely the Lord is with them. Let them look foolish. Let the lie collapse under the weight of your integrity. You didn't lose. You were preserved. And now the same truth they tried to bury has become the light of your breakthrough. One of the greatest responses to an attack on your character is not your words. It is your unwavering integrity. Your enemies might have had a louder voice, but God has given you a louder life. When people gather to lie on you, conspire against you, and try to assassinate your name, they do it with the expectation that you will break, that you will retaliate, or that you will crumble under the pressure. But when you stay rooted in character, when your walk stays holy, your heart remains pure, and your spirit doesn't bend, you've already defeated their strategy. The enemy is not after your possessions. He is after your position. And character is the seat of your authority. They didn't lie on you just to entertain themselves. They lied because your presence exposes their emptiness. Your stability offends their insecurity. Your consistency makes their chaos feel inadequate. That's why they resort to conspiracy, because they can't confront your calling directly. And when they can't find truth to use against you, they manufacture lies in desperation. But here is the kingdom principle. God honors character. God protects integrity. And God defends those who walk upright. When you choose to live by values and not by emotions, you disarm every plan of the enemy without lifting a finger. The moment you decide, I will not stoop to their level, heaven begins to fight on your behalf. The lie may travel, but your lifestyle will choke it out over time. The conspiracy may rise, but your consistency will dismantle it with grace. You don't have to defend every attack because your record will speak for you. The life you've lived, the kindness you've shown, the faithfulness you've maintained, the excellence you've demonstrated, all of that becomes a force more powerful than any rumor. Your fruit becomes your shield. Your harvest becomes your evidence. People may not know what was said in private rooms, but they can't deny what they see in public view. A life that refuses to bow to bitterness, a soul that stays steady even in betrayal, a person who keeps serving even when slandered. You see, when you respond to lies with rage, you validate the attacker. But when you respond with quiet strength and perseverance, you expose their immaturity. That's what happened with Daniel. His enemies couldn't find any fault in his conduct, so they created a trap out of his devotion. But Daniel didn't argue. He didn't go on a campaign to clear his name. He didn't plead his case in front of the king. He just kept praying. He just kept doing what he had always done. And because he stayed in character, God shut the mouths of lions and made Daniel the example while his accusers were exposed. The same thing will happen to you. Stay in position, stay in prayer, stay in purpose. Let them talk, let them post, let them plot. You keep producing, you keep loving, you keep operating in the excellence of your assignment. Your enemies expected you to retaliate. They wanted you to throw dirt like they did. But you chose dignity, you chose silence, you chose to let God be your witness. And now the very people who watched the storm of lies rise against you are witnessing you stand tall while your accusers melt under the weight of their own schemes. There is something holy about not reacting. There is power in restraint. Every time you refuse to stoop low, you elevate yourself in the spirit. God honors self-control. He blesses those who endure persecution without compromising their values. And when you maintain integrity in the face of injustice, you don't just prove your innocence, you reveal your identity. You show the world that you are not like them. You are set apart. You are governed by kingdom principles, not fleshly reactions. Let me remind you, your assignment is bigger than their gossip. Your calling is greater than their criticism, and your destiny is louder than their lies. Keep building what they said would collapse. Keep walking in the purity they mocked. Keep sowing kindness even to those who've wronged you, because the one thing your enemies didn't count on was your character. They thought the lie would cause you to lose control, but instead it pushed you deeper into alignment with God. And now, while they look for ways to bring you down, heaven is preparing to lift you up. You are not being overlooked. You are being preserved. Every time you chose not to clap back, you were storing up divine elevation. Every time you turned the other cheek, you were stepping into greater favor. And now the shift is happening. God is moving. The truth is rising. The lie is dissolving. And the same people who believe the worst about you are now confused by how your life still reflects excellence, joy, and peace. That confusion, that silence, that awkward backtracking, that's what it looks like when character wins and conspiracy fails. Never forget this. Your integrity is your weapon. It cannot be duplicated and it cannot be debated. It's your armor, it's your testimony, it's your proof, and it will take you further than any talent, any popularity, or any temporary applause. When others compromise for attention, you will be celebrated for endurance. When others manipulate for gain, you will be elevated by favor. When people lie on you, they think they are writing your ending. They believe they are narrating the downfall of your character, your credibility, and your future. But what they fail to realize is that when you are a child of purpose, your story doesn't end with a lie. It starts a new chapter with elevation. God doesn't need truth to come from their mouths. He speaks it himself. And when God speaks, he doesn't just clear your name. He crowns your destiny. Their lies actually help advertise what God is about to do in your life. They tried to damage your name, but your name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life. They tried to sabotage your assignment, but your assignment was sealed in heaven before you were born. So while they were trying to shut doors, God was preparing a new door they couldn't even see. In fact, their attempts to block you only made you more visible. Their whisper campaigns only made people more curious about who you really are. And when people looked past the lie and saw your integrity, your resilience, and your purpose, they couldn't deny that there was something different about you. Joseph is a perfect example of this. His own brothers lied to their father, saying he was dead. They sold him into slavery, tried to erase his destiny and cover it with deception. But even in a foreign land, God's hand was on Joseph. Even in a prison, purpose followed him. And eventually that lie positioned Joseph to be elevated in a place where his brothers would need him to survive. God used the falsehood to relocate him into influence. He used the betrayal to refine his character. He used the pain to shape his purpose. And when it was time, God didn't just restore him, he elevated him to rule. That's the power of divine reversal. When people lie on you, don't just ask God to fix the damage. Ask him to use it, because nothing is wasted in the hands of the Creator. The slander, the rumors, the backstabbing, God can turn all of it into a platform that launches you into a realm your enemies could never access. The same people who thought they were burying you are now watching you bloom in fields they never planted. And now they're left speechless. The trap didn't trap you, it trained you. The lie didn't limit you, it launched you. That's how God works. He makes your enemies the footstools you step on to reach new heights. There's a reason why God doesn't always stop the lie immediately. Sometimes he lets it spread so the truth can rise higher. Sometimes he allows the enemy to build a case against you just so he can publicly dismiss every charge with overwhelming favor. Because if he silenced every lie instantly, people wouldn't see the magnitude of the miracle. But when the lie becomes widespread, when it looks like you're finished, that becomes the perfect stage for God's glory to be revealed. He makes sure everyone who heard the lie will also see the lift. God uses lies as leverage. He turns slander into setup. He uses your tears to water the ground for your harvest. And while they were watching for your collapse, God was preparing your comeback. You didn't have to argue. You didn't have to explain. You just kept doing what God called you to do. You stayed faithful. You kept your posture right. You walked in obedience. And because of that, heaven is now moving on your behalf with a promotion that no man can block. Do you understand what it means when God promotes you in the same place where they tried to humiliate you? It means vindication isn't coming in silence, it's coming in public. It means the people who lied on you will have to witness the favor they said you'd never experience. And they'll have no choice but to admit something divine is working in your life. It's humbling, it's powerful, and it proves once again, no lie has the power to cancel a God-given calling. This is why you must not let the betrayal make you bitter. This is why you must not let the accusation make you abandon your assignment. Don't let the attack make you question your identity. What they said about you is not stronger than what God placed inside you. And the very pain that was designed to paralyze you is now being transformed into prophetic power. It's making you sharper. It's making you wiser. It's preparing you to lead with more authority, more grace, and more clarity. Remember this. God doesn't elevate to embarrass others. He elevates to fulfill purpose. But sometimes in the process of elevation, those who lied on you end up being exposed, not by your hand, but by their own fruit. Because while your fruit is speaking in favor of your life, theirs is revealing the corruption in their heart. And now their attempt to ruin you has only exposed them. The fire they set for you has burned their own plans, and all of this has positioned you to rise without revenge, to lead without bitterness, and to walk with confidence knowing that God turned every lie into leverage for your purpose. You don't have to manipulate the outcome. You don't have to strategize how to fix your reputation. Just stay faithful to the calling. Stay submitted to the process. Keep showing up even when it hurts. Keep serving even when you feel betrayed. Keep loving even when you're not loved back. Because God is taking note. And when He lifts you beyond apology, beyond approval, beyond denial. He will make it so clear that only He could have done it. And then the same people who lied will be left asking, how did they survive that? The answer is simple. What was meant to break you, God used it to build you. There is a powerful truth every person of purpose must understand. Vindication does not belong to you. It belongs to God. You were never meant to carry the weight of clearing your own name, defending yourself from every accusation, or proving your innocence to people who are already committed to misunderstanding you. When people lie on you, mock you, or try to drag your character through the mud, your first instinct might be to respond, to fight back, to set the record straight. But in the kingdom of God, vindication is not your burden. It's heaven's assignment. And when God vindicates you, he does it with such power, clarity, and perfection that your enemies are left speechless. There's a reason why Jesus, when falsely accused, did not utter a word in his defense. He wasn't silent because he didn't have an answer. He was silent because he understood his assignment. He knew that his purpose would speak louder than their lies. And just like Jesus, you must learn to discern which battles are yours and which belong to the Lord. Some fights are distractions designed to detour you from your destiny. When you waste your strength on people who are committed to misunderstanding you, you delay the momentum of your own purpose. Let the liars talk. Let the critics whisper. Let the deceivers scheme. They're not just fighting you, they're fighting the one who sent you. And God has a pattern of dealing with those who touch his anointed. When the children of Israel were trapped between Pharaoh's army and the Red Sea, Moses didn't turn around and argue with Pharaoh. He didn't waste time begging for peace or trying to reason with the enemy. No, he stood still and watched the salvation of the Lord. And what happened? The same waters that God parted to protect Israel came crashing down to destroy their pursuers. That's vindication. That's divine justice. That's what happens when God defends his own. Your job is not to expose your enemies. Your job is to stay focused. Keep walking in purpose. Keep producing what they said you couldn't. Keep thriving in the very area they tried to sabotage. Because while they're busy trying to stain your name, God is writing your elevation story. The more they lied, the more your truth is shining. The more they slandered, the more you stayed steady. And now your silence is speaking louder than their accusations. Your results are louder than their rumors. Your peace is louder than their chaos. Let them call you fake. Let them call you prideful. Let them call you whatever makes them feel better about their own failures. The beautiful thing about letting God vindicate you is that he doesn't just correct the lie. He makes it irrelevant. He doesn't just prove them wrong. He makes them look for you when they need the very thing they once mocked. That's why you don't stoop to their level. That's why you don't waste time crafting responses and explanations. Because while they're fighting you in the natural, God is elevating you in the spirit. And elevation always silences accusation. The lie was never the real weapon. It was the distraction. The real goal was to get you off course, to make you abandon your mission, to provoke you into acting out of character. But because you remained faithful, because you chose peace, because you kept showing up without resentment, God is now handling what you could never fix with words. That's the reward of trusting him. He restores your name with integrity. He restores your influence with power. And he does it in such a way that your enemies are forced to eat the very words they spoke against you. Do you know how powerful it is to see the people who tried to destroy you watch you walk into rooms they swore you'd never enter? That's what happens when God vindicates you. He makes your victory undeniable. He makes your success unexplainable. He makes your rise unstoppable. And all of it happens without you having to fight dirty, argue endlessly, or defend what God already approved. God knows how to reverse the conversation. He knows how to expose the motive. He knows how to make the lie look so foolish that even those who believed it begin to question their own discernment. You didn't have to clap back. They clapped for you in the end. You didn't have to explain yourself. They're now searching for the truth you lived all along. That's the beauty of spiritual maturity. You grow to a place where peace is more valuable than proving your point. You mature to a level where you trust God more than your ability to control the narrative. And in that place of surrender, God steps in with fire. He turns your silence into a weapon. He makes your fruit the loudest voice in the room, and he makes your story a testimony of divine vindication. The lie may have gained traction. It may have cost you relationships, opportunities, or even your peace for a moment. But it did not cancel your calling. It did not redefine your worth. And it definitely didn't change what God said about you. You are still chosen. You are still called. You are still marked by heaven. And because of that, no lie, no matter how big, how believable, or how viral, can stop what God has ordained. So rest, breathe, walk tall. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Let your life speak, let your fruit shine, and let God finish what He started. He is the God of justice. He is the God of recompense. He is the God of reversal. And when He vindicates you, no one will be able to deny that His hand has been on your life from the very beginning. The lie didn't win. The truth just took its time. And now the ones who spoke against you are the ones looking foolish, not because you embarrassed them, but because your elevation exposed their intention. Vindication is not yours to carry, it's God's to deliver. And when He does, the world will see what happens when favor is greater than falsehood.